Hey guys, welcome back to ArtosisCasts. Today we're going to be taking a look at a couple players we don't get to cast too often on this channel, but we have here in the top right, Tyson, and here in the bottom left, Hyuk. Of course, Hyuk, a pretty well-known Zerg from the old Pro League days. Hasn't really had that much success in recent years, but is playing well. He is very high up on the ladder and everything. It has a good skill level. And Tyson is about to play in ASL. Like maybe a day after you see this video or 2 days after you see this video, you'll end up seeing him play. So there is a possibility Killer is in his group. So yeah, I wanted to just take a little look at what his PVZ is going to be looking like. I've seen a lot of Tyson's Protoss vs. Terran recently. He played that mostly in the qualifiers and things. So I feel like I have a pretty good take on how he plays that matchup. And, you know, obviously I've seen a little bit of Tyson PVZ, but not nearly as much. So let's see what he's going to do here on Radeon cross spawn positions against Hyuk, who I wouldn't say is as good as Killer, but definitely is quite a strong player indeed. So looks like we have an overpool going down here for Hyuk, and just the pylon scout for Tyson, so he should be throwing out a forge and maybe sending out a secondary scout here to the south. So he's just kind of checking everything up. This is something where you could do a cannon rush if they went for a hatchery first. And of course, you're scouting with two. You know, you see a lot of scouts from Terran in this matchup. Terran almost always scouts with the second SCV if they don't find the Zerg right away, because you want to make sure that Lings aren't on the way, because you do have to, you know, prepare for that just in case. Now, as he gets here, he saw the drone coming from there with this probe, so he knew to turn this probe around and send it home, and he'll probably just make a nexus. This one jots up and is going to see that it is like an overpool timing. You can kind of tell just from, well, the pool is finished, the amount of larvae, the amount of drones there. Just something you learn over time. So he is going to pull back, throw down that nexus, and I think he has to go cannon next before gateway, but we'll see exactly how optimized he might have this. Occasionally you see some craziness occur, but no, he does just throw the cannon down. And of course with Hyuk, not making a ton of Lings, just 4 Zerglings coming out, and, you know, maybe going to chase this around a little bit, do a little bit of scouting as well. Puts 1 Zergling on there just for good measure. You're never really going to catch the probe with 1. Of course, Hyuk, having taken this third base location with his initial drone, didn't want to waste time trying to take this one against the probe harassing him and getting in the way. Back at home, Tyson, you know, just very normal stuff. So nothing too crazy going on. Very, very standard openers from both sides. So, you know, while we kind of wait for this game to warm up a little bit, I want to thank you guys again for checking out ArtosisCasts. Hope that you're enjoying. Hope that you're still gonna watch daily if you're a daily watcher. I know ASL is out, and Tyson and I have been releasing those. You know, basically we're done casting 24 hours after the match airs, so we get those up as quickly as possible, send them over to Soup, and they upload to their channel. You know, I guess when they get the time to do so. So yeah, thank you for watching those as well. And yeah, there's a lot of StarCraft going on right now, so I guess understandable if you if you don't have as much time to watch ArtosisCasts right now. But I'm trying to do some matches here and there that are still kind of relevant to the tournament, so it's kind of like a little bit of a help. But obviously, if I find something that's a good match, I'll throw that up anyways. You know, like if Flash and Shine play each other in the ladder, you can be sure that I'll be casting that, even though neither are in ASL this season. But anyways, the probe is going to get killed here. You know, it didn't get to see the layer. The layer is at the third base, and there is Zergling speed on the way, but of course the buildings don't do anything special, so he doesn't know that for sure. But, you know, he kept the probe alive for an okay amount of time, and he has this Zealot coming out to that third base location. We'll see if Tyson is able to get his full scout off, but when he sees the layer finished, that's going to basically tell him everything he needs to know. He's going to know that Zergling speed is going to be finishing too. It's like a very common thing. Yeah, he gets in here. He's going to go after a drone. Oh, he's going to get it. Wow. What is Hyuk doing? You got to be a little bit quicker than that. That was, I don't know what, he must have just have clicked away or something. Because that's like not, it takes 3 Zealot hits to kill that. So normally you would just pull that and run it away. And you know, body block with Zerglings and drones and whatnot. Anyways, Tyson's sending another Zealot in right now. And Hyuk, of course, going to go with the Speedlings to try to clean that up. Oh, God. And, yeah, I think he's not going to get anything this time. But, you know, causes some lost mining time. He's being a little bit annoying here as well. So it's not a complete loss. Gets a decent scout off. Spire on the way here for Hyuk. Looking back at Tyson's base. Of course, Corsair coming out. Citadel of Adun, so he's going to be getting his Zealot legs. We'll see if he goes into a quick Templar Archives. Does he want to get up to Dark Templar very quickly with this? Or are we going to see him focus more heavily on just getting Zealots out? You know, maybe, yeah, I was going to say maybe add another gateway. We do not see a gateway down here, even though that's normally a more common place for a second gateway, just in case you need to emergency morph an Archon. If you see this gateway here, I wonder if... I feel like if I played Protoss, this would probably be my gateway placement if I'm just going to go Zealot legs. And there it is, Zealot legs. Makes kind of sense, right? Like, you just want to put all your macro gates in kind of the same location. Sometimes you lose a gate, sometimes you don't, but you generally want all your production buildings in the same place so you can just macro really quickly. And if you're not going for quick Templar Archives, then you probably won't have that situation where you're making 2 Templars and an emergency Archon against incoming mutas, which is why you put a second gate at the natural sometimes. But yeah, kind of makes sense. Look at that. Nice little Sim City. Throws a photon cannon down. That'll guard the mineral line as well as the exit point here for Corsairs. Scourge are chasing him back, so he does pull back with this Corsair as well. Has 3 at the moment with the 4th one about to pop. So as he pulls back, the Scourge not going to really be able to do anything. Does bring a couple more up. And taking a look down here, we have very quick Overlord speed, as well as +1 ranged attack and Hydralisk speed. So there's not going to be any Mutalisks this game, which will make the Corsairs a little bit less useful. But I think that that's one of the things that you really want to look at from a Protoss player to see what type of shape they're in is like, okay, well, the Corsairs maybe not quite as useful as normal. It's not like you have DTs walking around. It's not like they're going Mutalisks or anything. But how do you utilize those Corsairs? Are you able to still get some value out of them? Are they still doing really great scouting for you? Are you retaining them and not just suiciding them into, you know, a cloud of Overlords to kill 2 and lose 8 Corsairs or whatever, right? Like that's something that I'm always interested in seeing from these kind of middle rank Protoss players, how they're going to handle it. So the Zealots run up. This is not a good engage, but he takes it for a second, which allows his Corsairs to fly over the army. Maybe he's looking for some damage to Overlords, but it feels like, yeah, it seems like Hyuk has enough just kind of everywhere here with the Hydras that, yeah, I don't think he's gonna actually get anything done. So he loses 1 there, doesn't even get an Overlord, a little bit sloppy. He is microing on 2 different fronts right now. However, lightly. We have the Hydralisk running up and trying to do some damage. The DT actually gonna kind of force him back while these additional cannons are warping in. I don't know that Hyuk is going to really try to bust, but he is definitely making enough cannons just in case that's the fact. And Storm is on the way here. Okay, he brings up the Overlord, so the DT does get picked off there. It's kind of a funny-looking cannon placement, but this is the type of cannon placement where you won't necessarily need to kill any cannons. They can't really dive in on you all the way. That's like, it is funny looking, you know? Like, you could put cannons here, but then you might need to kill them off to get your Dragoons out later and stuff like that, so I find that to be a very interesting set of placements. And he does kill off the eggs, so it's a little bit easier to rally out. Obviously, this is not a hole that Dragoons are going to fit out through. Corsair is still rotating around a little bit. They don't really have a lot of kills. They have, like, 1 to 2 kills total for the whole fleet. They do have that +1 attack as well. Of course, just having the Corsairs makes it harder for your opponent to go into Mutalisks here. And you can see that Hyuk, you know, kind of recognizing that. Well, whether this was his plan or not, at the beginning, he is going into Lurker as opposed to something like Mutalisks. And I think another Corsair just died to those Scourge. So, honestly, not the greatest Corsair usage. As far as gateway count goes, he's up on 6 right now and getting Dragoon range and already has the robotics. So this is, like, I'm wondering here because you can go 6 gate into, like, a 3rd Nexus It's not very popular. It used to be much more popular. I feel like at the beginning of Remastered, you'd see that a little bit more often. Nowadays, it's almost always 8 gates into whatever it is that you're going to do. And Tyson does have money banking up, so it feels to me like he wants to get a third base. But there's a lot of lurkers coming out, a lot of Hydras coming out. He is making quite a few Dragoons, and obviously we already have that robotics, so he's going to get observers out pretty quickly here as well. And if he's going to get contained, what he really does need is those extra gates. I'm actually a little bit nervous about it. And I love this from Hyuk. He has 1 Hydra standing forward. See this High Templar coming out? He was looking for a juicy storm on a group like that. And when you see 1 Hydra, you can't just run it past and do the storm. It's just, you're going to get sniped. So doesn't really find any value with that. A good spread of these lurkers from Hyuk. A good lurker contain coming up. Right now, Tyson adds those 2 additional gates, so he is going into the 8 gate, and he's keeping his money low. So, you know, I think he's macroing well here. That is like a really, really good spread. Okay, coming down with the Observer. He wants to break out now. Let's see. He has a lot of storms. Okay, you know, he's not getting off every single storm, that's for sure. Like, he got a few storms off there, but he definitely lost, like, 2 to 3 storms on Templar snipes. Okay, gets that one off before that can get picked. So the Dragoons are doing an okay job here of clearing things. Another Observer comes out. Not that he needs it right at the second. But some more Hydras flanking from the side. The Dragoons have a very hard time fighting alone. As soon as you lose your High Templars and Zealots, if you don't have like a really overwhelming amount of Dragoons, you have to be very careful because they lose to everything that Zerg has alone, unless you have like really, really overwhelming numbers. The Dragoon is a really funny unit in that way. It can be absolutely dominant or complete garbage, just based on what you're looking at number-wise. Now, a lot of Speed Zealots coming down, but already 3 more Lurkers are mixed in. This is not feeling like a very good game from Tyson. He's actually got a pretty big bank at this point. He GG's. Okay, well, Hyuk just wiped the floor with him. Now, Tyson actually has really strong PvP and really strong PvT, but I'm going to be honest, this did not look particularly good, his Protoss vs. Zerg. His Corsairs didn't seem that good. His pressure didn't seem that good. It seemed like he wanted to make a Nexus, so his gates were late, and he just got contained, and it just became gross. And you can kind of see why a lot of players will rush immediately into those 8 gates and just have that production. They can cut a little bit if they want that Nexus. So, yeah, obviously Hyuk played well. It was a solid game from him. But it does make me a little bit nervous about Tyson if he has to play killer in that group. All right, hope you guys enjoyed this little preview of one of our ASL players. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.